No One Likes Us Clothing is the clothing range designed by Millwall fans for Millwall fans. Caps, t-shirts, polos, they've got it all. Visit noonelikesus.co.uk for the full range. Or if you're in Bermondsey on a match day, why not have a pint in the Blue Anchor pub and pick up a Nolu polo shirt, Nolu clothing at www.noonelikesus.co.uk.
You're listening to AchtungMillwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Bermondsey. Accept no substitute.
Well, hello dear listeners, welcome to Achtung Grassroots. My name is Nick Hart, you're listening to the number one Millwall podcast and also purveyor of all things non-league, local and further afield. Well, it's not often that you come to the football via maritime methods, listeners, is it? But that's what I've done today, come down to West Ferry via the Dockland Railway and then walked through to catch the riverboat across the water from Canary Wharf to what's called Double Tree, and actually you exit through a hotel on the other side, so it's a very unusual route I've taken today, just for the lols of it. So I'm just walking along Salter Road in the direction of today's football match, which should be Fisher versus Sittingbourne in the preliminary rounds of the FA Cup. Yes, FA Cup football for you today, dear listeners. We're just walking along Salter Road, we'll be in the ground very, very shortly. But thank you to TfL for my over 60 card. It meant that cost me nothing. Strangely beautiful way to go to the football by boat. Put me in mind of the Susie and the Banshees Dear Prudence video. Any of you older boys out there, or girls, know the video, wouldn't know exactly what I'm talking about. It put me in mind to start singing Dear Prudence with a psychedelia kind of vibe going on. But it's such a short journey and there were other people on the boat that I didn't do that, listeners. Now, strange as it might sound, listeners, it's actually my first visit ever to Fisher. Never been here before, so I'm actually wandering along Salter Road, named after Dr. Salter, of course, a local dignitary who was an early forerunner of what would become the National Health Service in time, but he supplied free medical care for the poor and impoverished of Bermondsey and Rotherhithe. I've never actually been here before, so I'm walking along a little bit with the wide-eyed gait of the first-time visitor to an away ground. I know the area, but I've never actually been in Fisher's ground, if you know what I mean. So it's a new one for me this afternoon. So, dear listeners, here we are inside the St Paul's ground. Players warming up from both sides. Fisher at the end I'm at, which is not, there's one end called the pond end, this the other end, I don't know what it would be called, Rotherhithe end, I don't know. I've never been in here before, so it's a new experience. I bought myself a beer. I've broke the habit of a lifetime. I've come over by public transport, so I'm not driving, so I thought whilst we don't want to slur our words, we want to stay erudite, I thought I'd have a beer. So I've got a local Ansback, which is quite nice actually, nice and cold. It's a nice little ground, it's basic. Looks like the pitch is some kind of 4G style, I don't know the name for it. It's like a plasticised pitch. Stand opposite me where I'm standing, I'm on like the kind of like a fence side of it, I suppose you call it. It's not particularly romantically put, is it? Opposite me there's a very low section of seating. There's a clubhouse, so I just got myself said beer. There's the kind of like a Fisher home end, very small little bit of rain, almost like a bicycle shed style setup. And apart from that, there's about a yard gap around the edge of the pitch. It is very, very basic. Fisher obviously went through financial issues some years ago. Anyone that knows the history of the club will know that Fisher Athletic were a very renowned local side for many, many years in the Bermondsey area. Originally formed in the early 1900s by the headmaster of a local kind of reach, I suppose we call it outreach, like a school, Dockland School, which is like a public school. I think there was a big movement of the likes of Oxford and Cambridge to reach out and help the underprivileged of Bermondsey. We mentioned the Dr. Salter, which is on Salter Road already, with his healthcare initiatives in the pre-First World War days. And the reason for all of this was that this was an area of utter deprivation and poverty. Might be hard to picture that nowadays. The area is much, much more gentrified. Off in the distance from where I'm standing, you see the towers of capitalism over in Canary Wharf City. HSBC I can see. Looks like KPMG, I think. I can't see that logo, my old eyes. But back in when the likes of Fisher were formed, the great and the good felt the need to reach out and do good works by the poor, and the poor were very much living in Bermondsey, Rotherhithe. Your family, my family, probably, dear listeners. So that's the origins of Fisher. The club existed for many, many years in the London lower leagues, eventually hitting some success in the 1980s. I can remember Fisher being in I think they made the FA Cup second round. Let me just check. They made the first round twice in the 80s, and also achieved the heights of the Football Conference, which would be the equivalent of the National League in modern money. Since then it's been a tumble, financial tumble, as the story of so many clubs. The club actually reformed, and this is a successor club to the old Fisher Athletics. So Fisher FC, which is the club that we're watching here today, reformed itself in 2009 when the High Court wound up Fisher Athletic. It reformed itself as a supporters trust owned club, so you can actually become a member of Fisher, similar to the Lions Trust, I suppose you could say, from a Millwall perspective. That's still in a developmental stage. But this is a fan-owned club, quite proudly proclaimed on the banner outside the ground, and more power to their elbow. They've got a set-up here. It's shared with the Millwall Community Trust. The trust, Community Trust, do a lot of. I think the women's team play here. They put a lot of money into initiatives for the community around here, and it's great to see it. It's a big local name. Many links over the years between Millwall and Fisher, and it's just great to see the club continuing on, going from some kind of strength to strength. I'm going to put my beer. I don't often have a beer at football, listeners, but I have done. I even bought a programme. That's the kind of habit I'm breaking here today. So today's action is FA Cup preliminary round action, worth £1,400 to the winning club, the winning qualifying to the next round club. The losers walk away with £400, I was checking just before I came out, in prize money. Visitors are Sittingbourne, who come from the Isthmian South East League, one step above Fisher, who are in the Southern Counties East Football League, SCEFL, I believe it's called. Same league as the coverage that Michael's been given to Phoenix and to Erith Town. Fisher placed 18th at the moment in the SCEFL League, so just 2 points on the board. So poor start. So I think they're going to feel themselves the underdogs today against Sittingbourne. Sittingbourne, today's opponents, obviously based in Sittingbourne in Kent. Formed in 1886, founder members of the Kent League. They've reached the second round of the FA Cup twice in their history in the 1920s. They come to us. Nearly. How about that? Already I've identified myself as a Fisher fan. How about that? Bermondsey and Rotherhithe's pride, it says on the stickers in the clubhouse. I suppose I've got to throw my lot in with them, listeners, haven't I? But yeah, Kent League founders. Sittingbourne currently sitting 17th in the Isthmian South East table, which is one level below the Premier League of Isthmian football. So they are one step up the ladder from Fisher, as we said. But it's cup football, listeners, and anything can happen in the FA Cup. Amazing to think that it starts so early in the season. We always associate, even the first round proper is played in November. But here we are in the heat and warmth of an August afternoon, August the 20th. FA Cup football. They've already had one round, an extra preliminary round. Now, as ever for these shows, you might not always believe it, but I do quite a lot of prep for these shows, and I did a load of prep for this show on both sides, and unfortunately I forgot to transfer it all to my phone's notepads. It's all on the computer at home, so I'm going to have to speak from memory. So if I sound hesitant, or if any of my facts do turn out to be somewhat wayward, you can blame the early onset of Alzheimer's at the age of 60. And I got this concession to get in. Concession price of £5 to get in. How about that for the over 60s? Millwall take note. Probably cost Millwall too much money. I paid a £5 to get in, so it's cost me a £5, apart from the beer that I'm drinking. I suppose that's cost me £3.5. Incidentally, it's a nice little setup. £3.5 for a decent lager, local lager. The programme's £2. I'll have a look at that on the way home. But yeah, nice little setup. It's pleasantly local if you're in this end of the of town. We'll see how the football is when it shapes up later on. Just spotted a few Millwall shirts, listeners. Walked past me, a couple of kids and their dad. Just walking along. It's a very cheap afternoon, I've got to say. It was the same £5 for me to get in. I think it's £8 for the full adult price. Pretty good value, especially when you've got a free Oyster card. Shouldn't go on, should I? No, it's a very pleasant afternoon as I sit for my hands back, awaiting the entry of the two teams. One of the Fisher boys just compared me with looking like Wayne Lineker. Is that good or bad, listeners? I don't. You'll have to tell me. So two teams coming out onto the pitch now. Fisher in their traditional black and white stripes, black shorts, black stockings. Sittingbourne this afternoon wearing yellow and blue striped shirts, yellow shorts. So Fisher will be attacking the pond in the first half. We're just waiting for the referee to blow the whistle any moment now, dear listeners. And away we go. There's a travelling support for Sittingbourne, dear listeners, responded to by the Fisher mob. We spoke about Fisher's financial issues earlier on in this edition, listeners, didn't we? Sittingbourne have also had their share of financial jiggery-pokery over the years. They were formed in the late 1880s in Sittingbourne. After a couple of ground moves, they eventually finished up at what became established as their long-term ground behind the Bull Pub. There's a great article on their website, well worth a read if you're interested in any kind of history at all. But they finished up selling it in the 90s, which turned to be one of those football folly moments that, with the benefit of hindsight, everyone probably would have could rewind the clock. They probably would have done. But they finished up playing at Central Park in Sittingbourne, the Greyhound Speedway Stadium, which led to, shall we say, financial problems. Let's just leave it there. Eventually, they've had to vacate the Sittingbourne Speedway Greyhound Stadium. There's a little move for the number 20 on the left side. It's going to go for a corner. And they're now finishing up at the place called Woodstock Park, which puts me in mind of the great American free love and hippie festival of the late 60s. But no, nothing like that obviously in real life. It's sponsored by Jarman solicitors. So if Woodstock, the hippie festival, was sponsored by anybody, it'd have to be by Jarman solicitors, which is where they play, with coincidentally. I've been getting plenty of verbals here, listeners. It's you're quite close to the action. You're quite on the pitch. It's a nice little setup. Basically, you've got a pathway around the outside of the football stadium. I'm stood right by the right-sided corner flag as Sittingbourne attack, so I'm bang on the corner, if you like. But the linesman's getting some free advice as he's running the line alongside us here. Decent crowd. I don't know, hard to guess at it. Let's have a guess, shall we? Probably a couple of hundred people strewn out around the edge of the stadium. Not bad for, non-league at this level. Beautiful sunny day, warm, tree-lined, idyllic, bucolic almost. We've got kind of like ivy growing over the side fence that stops the balls going out of the stadium here. Nice, I like it. I'll come back. 12 minutes in, not huge amounts to report so far. I'd say Sittingbourne probably looked more comfortable on the ball of the two sides, but Fisher have actually had a few long balls that could have produced moments. Nothing really to report at the moment. I just thought I'd bring you your Fisher starting 11. Sam Amu in goal, Luke Thomas, Prince Amoru, Michael Sarpong, Sam Fitzgerald, Joseph Adewunmi, Darnell Bailey-King, Darnell Bromfield, Joshua Montella, Manny Shoderu and Fidan Fejzi. And starting 11 on the bench, Dennis Agante, Fode JT, Connor Darwish, Osaman Osifu, and Malaki Coker, Patrick Hoy and James Paul. That's your starting 11 for and subs for Fisher FC. We don't have any details for Sittingbourne. I apologise to any listening Sittingbourne fans. I'll do my best with that. At the moment, no goalmouth action from either side. We're ticking towards 21 minutes, halfway through the first half. Let's stay with the action for a moment. There's a free kick for Fisher down the far end. It's been mostly Sittingbourne in possession, nothing in front of goal so far. Listeners, this would probably be a set piece or some opportunity to get a shot on goal for Fisher. About halfway it looks inside the Sittingbourne half. Let's stay with it. Why don't we? See what happens here. Looks like the four's going to have taken it short. That's not. Try to pull it back from the left side. That's not quite worked out. It's gone for a goal kick. Yeah, so 0-0 at the quarter mark, the first half. I've just finished my beer, if you're interested. Listeners, I'm actually toying with the idea of wandering over to the clubhouse and getting a second one in. If by the end of this podcast my words are starting to become freeform, like jazz, like Miles Davis jazz, then do let me know separately. As we've said a few times, I think Michael said it on the last show that he did, the Grassroots show, one of the beauties of non-league football is you can go and get yourself a beer. You're standing right by the players, you can talk to the players. A couple of chaps in front of me just having a conversation, substitute among the spectators. You do get a real sense of closeness to the action. I can see the attraction of it versus the professional game, which is sadly, in many ways, become quite remote. We're lucky at Millwall that we still have a kind of a tangible link with our players, but it doesn't always work out when you watch these documentaries about the top flight clubs, Tottenham, Spurs, Tottenham, Arsenal, Manchester City, and so on. You're quite remote from it. This is real stuff, and it's just a real pleasurable afternoon out. It's very cheap. I've only paid £5 to get in. Kids were the same, adult £8. You know, you can get in with 2 kids, adult 2 kids. For under 20, you can get yourself a can of lager. It's quite nice lager. It was cold. It was good. Local stuff. So there's the attraction of it. I get it. I think you should get it too, dear listeners. One of the purposes of these shows is to try and promote this level of football because A, the clubs need it. They're the lifeblood of the game. And secondly, you might even enjoy yourself. You probably will enjoy yourself. You probably will enjoy yourself more than at the professional game. There's a thing. 25 minutes, still 0-0. Still no action. That's the downside of it. Sittingbourne on the attack now, the 20 coming down their left side. There's a moment earlier where Fisher had their first chance. It was a ball in from the left, a very ambitious overhead kick. Pele would have been great, proud of it if he'd made it. As it was, he missed it completely, so you look like a bit of a lemon. But nice stuff here by the 20 coming in from the left side. Ball back now, just cut out there by the Fisher, number 6. Nice stuff. Shot from distance, that's wayward and wide. 0-0. 27 minutes, listeners. Long ball forwards from the Fisher. Shouts for a handball there from the goalkeeper. Towards the 21, he does well to get in. Let's stay with the action then. Ball's into the middle, it's in front of goal! Scream of a chance there for Fisher. He should have done better there. 33 minutes that Sittingbourne will bring away now, though. That was a big chance, probably their best chance to score of the half so far for Fisher. I should have gathered them on my way to get myself a bit. That was the home end I've just walked past. I think there's a fair sprinkling of away fans in there as well.
Hi, mate.
Oh, one of these, please. Cheers, mate. Thank you. Lovely, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, mate. Thanks. Anne's Pack and Hob Day. Very nice lager. And 2 ladies in kind of like 1930s flying gear array on the can. I like it. So as you can tell, I'm in the kind of clubhouse section. $3.50 for a beer. That's not bad. Dave, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, good man. You?
Yeah, I've never been here before. I thought I'd come down this afternoon and see what it's like. You know, it's all right, isn't it?
Yeah, good fun.
Have a beer. You can't do this at the den, can you? What's a football?
Well, no.
Not at the same time,
No.
anyway. I'll see you in a bit.
Achtung, Millwall.
And I thought I'd come down to the opposite end of the ground, just for a different stance on things. Do you do that, listeners? Get a different view? You can't do that so much at professional level. So I'm at the pond end, looking back down the pitch at the home end. They've got a big banner, Fisher banner, big on banners here, listeners. The Fisher factory, made in South London. AJ's Black and White Army. AJ, I believe, is the manager of the Fisher side. Just missed the half-time whistle, 0-0 at the break. As we've said a few times in the course of this report so far. Not huge amounts of goalmouth action for either side, in truth. So it's all balanced at half. It's a beautiful sunny day. I'm now standing at the pond end of the ground. Fisher 0, Sittingbourne 0, all to play for in the second half. These are the small pleasures of non-league football, listeners. I found like an electrical box at the side feeding one of the floodlights, actually. And it provides a wonderful ledge to stick my second beer of the afternoon on. Now, I don't normally drink when I come to football, but I'm masking it with the thought that you're supporting your local non-league club here, which is a flimsy excuse at the end of the day. So 2 beers in, forgive me if any of my words become slurred or nonsensical. It's nice. I'd certainly come back here. It's very convenient to get to. It's not obviously Rotherhithe, not far from the Den. So if you're in the area, I'd recommend it as a an afternoon out. The bar's open, selling decent beer. This Hob Day in Ansbach, I quite like. I don't know if that's where that sits in the beer snob league tables of right and wrong, but it's very pleasant, nice and cold. That's the main thing. So the ground itself, very basic. I mean, you're not coming into anything that is in any way plush, but it's all right. Basically you're standing on a pathway around the side of the pitch. There's one small stand where you can sit if that's your thing. That's quite well used. I'm standing on the opposite side to the ground now, looking at that. As I say, a few hundred people here. FA Cup day, so maybe that's the attraction. Sittingbourne, I think, we've brought a coach load of fans, and it's just a nice afternoon, so I recommend it. I shall certainly be back, put it that way. Did I say I shall certainly be back? If I said I shall certainly be back, then that's because I'm 2 beers in, listeners. So both sides have come out for the second half. So Sittingbourne will be attacking the pond end. Fisher will be attacking the home end. AJ's black and white army, Fisher banner end. Situation is 0-0. It's an FA Cup tie. I think there's a replay. No extra time today, listeners. So if it's not settled today, then they go to a replay at Sittingbourne's Woodstock Park. Peace and love. Looks like a substitution. The Fisher 9 has come out for the 10, who's come into the play for the second half. Well, I'm seriously loving this electrical feed box for the floodlight for my lager to sit on, listeners. I think I've discovered my pitch at Fisher. I didn't know I had a pitch at Fisher, but I do. I've never been here before, but I've discovered that I have a pitch right here. It wasn't where I was in the first half. That was over in the corner. I was trying to precariously balance my lager on one of the fence posts. They've got like a little ledge bit on there, but only just enough for the glass to sit on. But as it is, I've discovered this electrical feed box, and the lager sits on there very nicely, and it's out of ball range, for the ball come crashing into it. So I think that's an important thing in any drinking establishment, that you discover your pitch. Don't you agree? What do you think? Do you have a pitch in your pub or bar of choice? I think I've discovered mine at Fisher FC, listeners. Well, how about that? Fisher have just opened the scoring deal. Listeners, break down on the right side. Nice cross in. 50 minutes on the clock. Ball in from the right side across the face of goal, and scuffled home from close range in front of the baying Fisher mob down at that Fisher banner end. Bit against the run of play, but Fisher will not be worried about that to progress in the FA Cup. As I said earlier on, £1,400 at stake for the winners of these preliminary round ties, and they're just going to goal up against Sittingbourne, the higher placed league side. So 1-0 Fisher. 50 minutes on the clock. Little bit of Fisher pressure suddenly, listeners. They forced a corner from a throw-in down by the right side corner flag, and the second one would really give them a decisive advantage. I've not seen anything in front of goal from Sittingbourne, so I was ball into that's near post. I gave it a big build up there, and nothing came of it. As it is, the rather slender 1-0 lead persists. 53 minutes. Another chorus of No One Likes Us going on at the Fisher end. I don't know if they've adapted the lyrics in any way, shape or form to suit Fisher, but it's quite odd to see it or hear it sung at a venue other than at Millwall. This is a long throw from the Sittingbourne player. The goalkeeper takes that quite bravely. The Sittingbourne 4 player's gone flying inside the box. Referee's not having any of it. Very close shots. Nice long ball down the left side. The 21, the Fisher 21 is looking quite dangerous. I'll have to look up his name at some point in proceedings. Listeners, a nice cross in from the left side. Across the face of the goal. No one in there. That was a chance for Fisher. Nice break down the left side. 58 minutes. Fisher are turning up the heat a little bit. Sittingbourne aren't showing much in front of goal. They were rolling around on the floor, claiming injuries and fouls, all the unseemly arts of football. But they've not shown much at all in front of the Fisher goal. So at the moment, with that pressure, slender 1-goal lead, Fisher are very much in the driving seat, listeners. Millwall links for both sides over the years. I saw Alan Walker's name mentioned as an ex-manager of Sittingbourne, and Alan Dowson, both names from the 80s at the Den. And of course with Fisher, the proximity of the two clubs over the years of many links. I did see Dave Mehmet's name mentioned as a manager I believe in the late 80s, if memory serves, when his playing career had finished. So these are two sides, Medway-based, local-based. They're going to have Millwall links, aren't they? And so they do. Both cases. It's been better second half, listeners, as we tick towards the 61st, come towards the 62nd minute. It's been the goal has livened things up. It's opened it up a little bit. All the time it was tight. The beer was more interesting for me than the football, but in the second half it's actually been entertaining stuff, and the beer has taken second place to the football. How about that? Coming towards 64 minutes. Always a long ball forwards. There's the Sittingbourne player who's beat the goalkeeper. He's got to score from here, surely. Oh, what a block on the line there by the Fisher too. Prevented a certain goal there. Wow, that forward should have done a lot better. It was a long ball straight down the middle. He beat the goalkeeper, who's come out wildly, I would say. Gone round the goalkeeper, he's got an open goal in front of him. Didn't put enough power on the shot, and as Fisher too saved a certain goal. There's another ball into the mix. That's over the bar from the 17. That was by far and away Sittingbourne's best chance, and that should have been a goal, and Fisher have saved it. I have the stars written it that Fisher will progress. What are we now? 63, coming to 64 minutes. Could be 69 minutes on my iPhone clock, dear listeners. Fisher, not about hanging on. They've had a couple of chances to score themselves. Sittingbourne have had a couple of chances. It's become quite an entertaining game, actually. I'm pleased I've come over. I was weighing up whether to come out this afternoon. I'm going to be quite upfront with you. This is that kind of podcast where we talk to each other. I was sitting at home, thought, shall I go, shan't I? A bit of a lug to get down there. But actually it wasn't too bad. I caught the Dockland Railway from home and jumped on the boat. I might go home a different way though. That was a bit of a performance. It was nice, but it was a bit of a performance to get the boat for the last little bit. They're Sittingbourne pressing forwards. Ticking towards the 70th minute of the game. There's going to be a crossing from the right side. That's over the heads of everybody. It's going to go for a goal kick. But no, I've enjoyed it. Pleasant place. I'd recommend it to anyone listening to the show. Support your local football club wherever you're living. There's going to be a club like Fisher just around the corner from you, selling beers just like Fisher selling here. They need your support. When Millwall's not around or away and you can't go, we've all been there. What's not to love about this? Fisher go 2-0 up, dear listeners. Lovely ball in from the 21, by far their most dangerous and creative player for Fisher. A ball in from the left. It was caught full on the head, actually. It kind of looped in for 2-0 to Fisher. That should be game, set and match now for the Bermans, the pride of Bermondsey and Rotherhithe. Kind of looping header in from, looked like the edge of the penalty area, actually. It looked like a strange goal. I can't quite tell you who scored the goal. There's no announcements here, but it was a nice ball in from the side from the 21. 2-0 Fisher on 72 minutes. That should be game, set and match, dear listeners. I've just done something I've never done at Millwall. That's when I got the ball. The ball came over the fence here. I had to deliver it back to the side. I've never done that at the Den. As a kid, used to always dream of the moment the ball came over into the crowd and you could get the ball back to the players, but never happened for me. It's happened now at the age of 61, nearly 62. I feel chuffed. First decent cross in from the right side from Sittingbourne. It hung in the air nicely under the crossbar there, but the forward for Sittingbourne headed away from goal rather than into goal. That would have been a chance there. We're coming towards 11 minutes to go in the game. They're desperately searching for a foothold in this cup tie. That could have been it, but it was headed away from the target. Remains 2-0 to Fisher. They're looking in the driving seat at the moment, listeners. Do let me know if my voice sounds in any way impaired by alcohol, listeners. I've had 2 decent beers. It's quite nice stuff. Ansbach and Hobday. I do recommend it. I may have repeated myself in saying that. I try to avoid, I eschew the alcohol, generally speaking, when I'm doing recordings, for the reason that I don't want to slur my speech. It's not nice to listen to. And I'm hoping I haven't done this afternoon, but do let me know what you think, listeners. I don't intend to make a habit of it, or maybe I will make a habit of it, I don't know. Perhaps I'll make a big habit of it and build a lifestyle around it. What about that? Going to non-league games and getting stuck into the bar, all in the name of supporting grassroots football. Sounds good to me. Sittingbourne fan to my left just accused the Fisher home support of only singing because they're winning and called them twats. There's a ball in from the left side. That's... Oh, I thought I'd gone in the net there. It was a long ball in for a free kick to Fisher on the left side. Flighted quite nicely into the far post and just bundled around the right side post there. Only winning, they're winning, twats. 88 minutes on my clock, listeners. Bundled late consolation goal for Sittingbourne. Ball in from the right side, it hit the crossbar, came down into a melee of Fisher players. It's 2-1 now to Fisher. We're talking about the last few seconds of the game, plus any added time. Literally ticking towards 45 minutes, so 90 minutes of the game, plus whatever added time the referee gives here. Fisher could do without the nervy finish. That was a straightforward cross in from the right side into a confused melee of players, and it hit the crossbar somehow. It's now gone in the net, so it's going to make for a nervous last few minutes of the game for Fisher Athletic. Possibly I've missed it, but I haven't seen how much extra added time has been given here, so I've no idea how long this is going to go on for, listeners. We're well past the 45-minute mark for the second half. That goal has changed things somewhat. It's a long ball forward, so again down the right channel. We've got the right side player's gone tumbling. What's the referee going to give? He's give a penalty! No way! Surely not. Long ball down the right side of the channel. It looked like he went down very, very softly to me, listeners. And he's fallen flat on his face, and the referee's pointed to the spot. The linesman flagged for it. Being spoken to by the Fisher players. That's a dramatic late finish. Wow. 2-1. This is a chance to make it 2-2 in the dying embers of the game. We're 1.5 minutes into added time. I've not got a clue how long has been added on here, because I didn't see if there's a fault for Fisher. There may not even be a fault for Fisher. It might just be on the referee's say-so. Late drama in Rotherhithe. How about this? I might even stick this on video. Why not? Been putting a few videos out on the old Instagram. So late drama here in Rotherhithe. It's literally in the dying seconds of the game. Sittingbourne will get a penalty. Oh, he saved it! Follow in. Oh, he's put the rebound away. It's 2 each. What a soft goal to concede, having done so well to save it. Sittingbourne put it back to 2 each. The game literally dying in the last few seconds of added time. They should not be 2 each. So Fisher were leading it 2-0. There we are. There's the drama of the FA Cup for you, listeners. 2-2. Football, eh? Bloody hell. Acres and acres of added time, listeners. Sittingbourne still now pressing for the winner. They will feel they deserved on the balance of the game overall. They've been rather out of it for chunks of the second half. And Fisher, having established a 2-goal lead, will feel they should have progressed. But that's the gods of football for you. There's a long ball forward that's gone all the way through to the goalkeeper. Nothing happening there. We're 9 minutes into extra time. Added time, I should call it, not extra time. I wasn't aware there was that much to be added on, but the referee's clearly seen it. It's going to come in from the left-sided corner, deep, tipped over by the goalkeeper. There is the final whistle. Dramatic scenes at the death of the game there. 2 each. It finishes Fisher 2, Sittingbourne 2. There's a really entertaining second half, listeners. Replay, clearly. FA Cup replay at Sittingbourne. I recommend this. This is quite good. There we are. That completes us for the action for this afternoon at Fisher Athletic in Rotherhithe. FA Cup preliminary round tie finishes Fisher 2, Sittingbourne 2. There will be a replay at Sittingbourne, and we'll keep an eye on the outcome of that particular cup tie. Hope you've enjoyed this edition of Achtung Grassroots. Until the next one, Arrivederci Millwall, and thanks for listening. I really appreciate it. Bye for now.
Achtung, Millwall.